Coach, if you could begin with an opening statement.
Just, hard-fought game. Hard-fought game against one of the great pitchers in college baseball. And I think he's one of the finalists for the Golden Spikes Award, which is a great honor and well-deserved on his part. And I thought our guys fought it with everything they had. We just, when you're going against a guy like Kumar Rocker, you can't leave 12 men on base. You just got to – I know it's hard to get that hit because of his stuff and how good and competitive he is. Followed up by some pretty good arms behind him. But just wish we could have found a way to scratch a hit there, and maybe we got a different outcome.
Thank you, Coach. At this time, we'll open it up for questions. We'll begin with a question from Bridget Condon. Bridget, you are now allowed to speak. Make sure you unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey, Coach. Bridget Condon from ABC 11. Can you just walk me through your day today when you found out that your roster or your lineup was going to be different? And then, of course, no moral victories, but what did you think of the way that your team played with the limited number of guys you had?
Well, I'll talk about the way we played, which is my opening statement. And, just a great gutty performance by a gutty team. That's who we've been all year. And some guys stepped up today and played in roles they haven't been asked to play in, and just really proud of that. I don't want to discuss anything that happened today because, quite frankly, I have no understanding of what happened today, so I'd rather not discuss any of
that. Next question will be Mike Topper. Mike, go ahead and unmute and ask your questions.
Hey, Coach. Mike Topper from Spectrum News 1. I was wondering if you could give us your thoughts and impressions there on Garrett getting the start today. Obviously, he came here not thinking he was going to pitch today. And just what you make of his performance?
Yeah, he gets told probably at about 1 o'clock or maybe later. Maybe it's like 1:30 that he's got the ball at 2:07 to throw against the defending national champs. You couldn't be more proud of him and his effort. But he's done that a few times this year. It's not the first time he's done that. First time he's done that on this stage. First time we've been at this stage this year. But if we've done things the right way, and you can lock into the game itself, which obviously he was able to do, and Feeney as well, then this stage doesn't seem too different than the past places we've been on our ascent to get here. And just proud of what he did. I knew he was very tired at the end, but he gave us actually one more inning that we asked him to give there to make this thing work.
Next question is Justin Williams. Justin, go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Hey, Coach. Justin Williams with the Wolfpacker. What was your message to the team when you learned that you were only going to have 13 guys available before this game?
Well, one, there was a lot of confusion. They didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was going on, so I couldn't really tell them. But when I found out we had the option to play with 13 guys or forfeit, then obviously when you have guys that are committed to your program as our guys are all year, I don't think you do things from the top. I think it's always a decision made by the people that have done the work. It's always the people on the ground that get the work done, and sometimes at the top you have to make a decision, but this wasn't one of those circumstances, and I just told the team what we were dealing with. 2 options: or forfeit or play with 13 guys, and my vote was to play. Let me know what you want to do. It took about probably 6 seconds. And that's who they are. And we found a way to make it work. And like I said, if you get a knock here or there, we might be talking about playing for a national championship starting on Monday. But anyway, now we got to come back tomorrow and beat a really good Vanderbilt team, and we got to go back and regroup here and see what's going to happen.
Next question is from Eric Olson. Eric, make sure you're unmuted and go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, Ellie, it's Eric Olson with the Associated Press. You said that you couldn't talk about the events of today, but coming into today, did you require your guys or encourage your guys to get vaccinated? Did you have a policy on that?
I didn't say I couldn't talk about it. I said I wouldn't talk about it. We talk about a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? But it's not, it's always been, I've been coaching for a long time, and I think I'm you can call it caretaker, you can call it babysitter, or the guy that the parents drop their young men off and leave in my care, and they've raised them to be the quality people that we recruit. And my job is to teach them baseball, make sure they get an education, and keep them on the right track forward. But I don't try to indoctrinate my kids with my values or my things that, my opinions. Obviously, we talk about a lot of things, but these are young men that can make their own decisions, and that's what they did.
Next question is from Steve Wiseman. Steve, make sure you're unmuted and go ahead and ask your question.
Thanks, Elliot. Steve Wiseman from the News and Observer. Do you know which players certainly won't play tomorrow? Like JT Jarrett, we heard, has been sent home. Do you know he's not going to play? Do you know?
Steve, I have no idea what's going on. Zero. You know as much as I know. Okay? It just hasn't been communicated. I know this is a odd situation, and I know people have to deal with things, but we spent all day yesterday. Rob Murphy, Scott Insel, and myself spent all day yesterday dealing with a lot of things, and then today we got up and dealt with some other things. So anyway, it's I'm sure I'll get the information at some point, and when I get the information that the NCAA deems appropriate, then we'll go from there.
All right, we have a follow-up question from Eric Olson. Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, Elliot, you had said that you didn't want to indoctrinate your players into your philosophy. Did you get vaccinated yourself?
I'll tell you what, Eric, I'm not going to talk about that. If you want to talk baseball, we can talk baseball. If you want to talk politics or stuff like that, you can go talk to my head of sports medicine, Rob Murphy.
All right, follow-up question again from Steve Wiseman. Steve, unmute and ask your question.
Thanks, Elliot. Ask about pitching for tomorrow. You only had to use 2 guys today. I know you only had 4, but do you have any idea who might be available to pitch tomorrow? I know you talked about some guys that might be.
And once again, it's about who's going to be on the roster, who's allowed to play, and that I haven't been told yet. So hopefully I'll get that information soon, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll have a lot of guys to pitch. Hopefully we'll have Reed Johnson, Sam Highfill, and a lot of guys to pitch. So we'll see.
Next question from Rob McLam. Rob, please make sure you're unmuted and ask your question.
Yes, sir. Rob McLam from the Wilson Times. Elliot, you said it was unclear about what's going on in the build-up to this game. Is there any clarity into what things could happen that would make your players eligible to play tomorrow? Have they given you any type of insight into what needs to be done?
I had some kind of conversation with my athletic director, who talked to the, I think maybe head of the championships or something, and we discussed some things. And then since the game's been over, Rob Murphy has told me something that he thinks is going to happen, but I'm still not really sure. I went and spoke to my team, and I came straight in here.
Next question is from Elizabeth Merrill. Elizabeth, go ahead and ask your question.
Hey, Coach, sorry if I missed this because there was the Vanderbilt press conference going on at the same time, but could you kind of walk us through what this morning was like leading up to the game and how you found out about the test or whatever, the positive, how you found out about the COVID protocols?
Kept getting not much said. It was just like they delayed. First, they kept us out of our locker room, and so they kept us out of our locker room. And then some of the players had to go back into a holding room, and then they delayed infill, outfill, and nobody really knew what was going on. And then finally I got told these were our options, and that's what we chose to do. That's when we played the game.
Were you told you had a positive, or were you told why you were being delayed?
Once again, you're talking about stuff that's personal information and probably protected by whatever. That's something I don't want to discuss. If you want to discuss that, you can discuss that with my administration.
We've got time for 2 more questions for Coach.
And please make it baseball.
Let's go to Aaron Fitt. Aaron, you can unmute your mic and ask your question.
Yeah, Coach, Aaron Fitt, D1 Baseball. Obviously, we all know. Here's a baseball question for you. We all know Highfill came in as a two-way guy. How much work has he gotten as a hitter this year? And what can you say about the guy coming in and getting 3 hits in his first 3 at-bats of the year?
Well, first of all, he's gotten 0 work as a hitter. We went to him and we found out we were going to play and see if he wanted to go up to the cage and take a couple swings, and he was excited. He's just a baseball player. Baseball players do things in baseball games, and Sam Highfield's a baseball player. And if we'd have taken the lead there, he was going to close the game. And if this game would have got extended and go to extras, then he would have been at third base. He's just a baseball player, and he's smart. I think his granddad was one of the Phillies' top prospects. I learned that from the great legendary coach Wayne Graham a few days ago, who played with Sam's grandfather. And he's just a baseball player, and you'll hear from Sam in a few minutes. And Aaron, I appreciate the question.
Okay, final question goes to Rob McLam. Rob, you can unmute. Ask your question.
Yes, sir. The freshman, you mentioned Payne. Just your thoughts on Giles and all those guys that played.
Yeah, just, you talk about this is when you get here, even though we have 9 guys that have played for 3 months, this is a tremendous stage and a tremendous city that Omaha is to college baseball what Augusta is to the Masters. And this city, much like Augusta, just wraps their arms around all the teams that come in. It brings in great, money to the city. It brings in great exposure. I think the city has a lot of fun with it. Everybody we've met has just been awesome. So this is a grand stage. And so even for our guys to come here and play on this stage is a challenge. But for these guys that haven't played all year and find out, 30, 40 minutes prior to game time, hey, D, you're going to third today, and Sam, you're going to first. And but anyway, it's what you love about this game. Is one of the many things we love about this team, and it was just a lot of fun for me today watching these guys compete.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time, and we'll be joined momentarily by Sam Highfill. Thank you, Coach.
Anything out of line, just no comment. Eric Olson ask anything?
We are now joined by Sam Highfill. At this time, if you have a question, please make sure you raise your hand. We'll begin with Aaron Fitt. Aaron, go ahead and ask your question.
Hey, Sam, Aaron Fitt, D1 Baseball. When did you find out you're going to be starting at first base today? And how did you react to that? And then how the heck did you get 3 hits against Kamar Rocker in your first game of the year in the lineup?
Yeah, I found out game time was supposed to be at 1. It was probably around 1. That there's a chance I was going to play first base today. And, I wanted to. I looked at it as more of an opportunity than a problem. Hey, we have half of our team, but I wanted to be a guy who stepped up, and so I was happy. I was excited for the opportunity.
We'll next go to Rob McLam. Rob, go ahead and ask your question.
Sam, there's a lot of ambiguity about who will be there tomorrow. Obviously, you may have to be called on to pitch. What type of innings do you think you could give in that situation? How do you feel right now?
I feel good. I felt good today. Like Coach said, there's a chance I was going to pitch in the ball game today. We'll take it one inning at a time tomorrow. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say that I can go out there and throw 9, but my arm feels good. So.
Next question to Eric Olson. Eric, make sure you're unmuted and go ahead and ask your question.
Give me, Jeff. I do not have a question.
I apologize. Okay, we're going to go to Mike. Mike, you may now unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Solarte, S-O-L-A-R-T, Solarte. I know you had trouble with it. Sam, first off, what is this? Every loss is you guys don't like losing, obviously, but what does a loss like this say about a team that only dressed 13 guys, took the reigning national champs to a 3-1 outcome? That I would think that this might be maybe the best loss you may have been involved with. And on the flip side of that, are you also going to lobby for some more at bats going forward, even when you're not playing first base?
Yeah. Sorry. Can you repeat the first half of that question?
The first half. What does this loss say about you guys that you took the reigning national champs to a 3-1 outcome with just 13 players?
Yeah, it just shows how tough we are. Like these guys, and went out and we played a heck of a game, and it didn't go the way we ultimately wanted it to, but I think we showed a lot of fight today, and we're ready to go do it again tomorrow if we have to. And then second part, I don't know if I'll lobby for any more at bats, but who knows? Who knows?
You make a good case for it. Just saying.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to Bridget Condon. Bridget, you may unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Hey, Sam, Bridget Condon with ABC 11. What was Coach's message to you guys after, and, the fight you guys had today? How do you turn that into a win tomorrow and make sure you guys advance?
I think he touched on it a little bit when he was just talking. I think the key is we got to get hits with guys on base. We lifted a lot of guys on base today. And, I think if we're going to go out there and win tomorrow, we need to get those big 2-out hits or hits with guys in scoring position.
And then a quick follow-up to that. Do you believe that this team with 13 players is capable of winning tomorrow, and why?
Absolutely. We fought back from a lot of things this year, and you only need 9 guys out there, and we wish that the rest of those guys could be on the field, but we're confident still. We feel good, and there's a big opportunity tomorrow. So.
Next question by Steve Wiseman. Steve, go ahead and ask your question.
Thanks. Hey, Sam. Steve Wiseman from the News and Observer in Raleigh. I'm curious about your mindset. Did you wake up today knowing that something like this was possible as far as players being missing? Did you guys have any idea that this was kind of brewing? Or and have you guys talked about vaccinations amongst yourselves? Because I know the NCAA rules say vaccinated people don't have to be tested.
Yeah, no, I didn't really, I'm kind of the same way Coach is. I don't really have much of a clue of what exactly is going on. So we're just do whatever they tell us we got to do.
We have time for 2 more questions. Next question will go to Brian Pirtle. Brian, you may unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, Sam. Brian Pirtle, the technician. You obviously had a pretty good day at the plate. Not so much for the other guys, first time through the order. Unless my stat keeping is incorrect, they all struck out first time through the order. And so my question is, what time you all started putting the bat on the ball later in the game? What did y'all see that first time through the order that allowed y'all to make better contact?
I think we got better at laying off breaking balls in the dirt. I think that was the majority of the strikeouts in the first couple innings. I think we made a good adjustment on that, and when I went up there, I was looking for a fastball. I kind of went off of the words from my teammates, what they were seeing, and the idea was we got to hit the fastballs early because his breaking ball's really good.
And one final question to Elizabeth Merrill. Elizabeth, go ahead and ask your question. Elizabeth, make sure you're unmuted. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. What was could you just kind of take me through what your morning was like today?
Oh, it was normal. I mean, came down and had breakfast, and I came over a little bit later, so I wasn't here for BP or anything. But there's a couple of pitchers who came over later that we thought might throw today, and when I got here, then that's when I found out about everything. But other than that, it was normal.
Did you guys get tested this morning?
No comment. No.
All right. That concludes our press conference today. Thank you, Sam. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone, for participating in today's press conference. You can find a recording of this